The time has run out the bottle. You're all getting a good hiding, cowards.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make sense. Why would you pull out of a fight and then start talking? I mean, I think that we should...
Bill, it'd be such a shame because that seems to be the thing that everybody else is talking about more than top of the bill.
Tyson Fury isn't lobbing playful jabs here. He's aiming straight at Dillian Whyte's heart, courage, and pride. In classic Fury fashion, he's mocking Whyte's toughness, questioning his grit, and even christening him with a new nickname, Dillian Whyte. This isn't lighthearted banter. Fury's message...
Yeah.
Joe Frazier.
Yeah.
George Foreman.
Yeah.
Vitaly Klitschko.
...is blunt. He sees Whyte as a coward. No grit, no bottle. Just a man ready to fold when the heat rises. And Fury isn't the only one sensing the decline. Even Mike Tyson, the very embodiment of ferocity, has noticed Whyte's aura fading.
But sick of it, to be honest. I feel as though the sport needs... We always used to take the piss. When I was younger, I remember cycling had such a bad reputation, everybody being a cheat.
But perhaps the most cutting assessment comes from trainer Dave Coldwell. He's not sugarcoating it. Coldwell says Whyte's image in the sport has soured beyond repair. This isn't just about a few flat performances, it's a pattern. Failed drug tests. Vanishing before big fights. A steady slide that insiders can no longer ignore. Fury's timing...
Especially for Moses, I think it's a very good time to fight Dillian. He's had a couple of years out the ring. But, you know, make no mistakes, Dillian Whyte is a massive puncher to head and body. I know he's taking it very serious. I'm speaking to Ty Mitchell, who's in training camp with him. And looking forward to the fight. You know, it's a big step up for Moses because he hasn't really fought anybody on Dillian's level. The old Dillian, it was a couple of years ago. And it's going to be interesting to see how much that Dillian Whyte has left.
...is deliberate. Whyte's inactivity, slower pace, and visible wear make him the ideal prey for the heavyweight division's young predator, 20-year-old prodigy Moses Itauma. Fury admits the timing couldn't be better for the rising star. This isn't the same...
Challenger. He's the A-side. He's the one that can predict, and he's not the opponent. So he's going to make the most of the opportunity that he's in. But I don't believe that he doesn't want to fight.
He's not ducking, is he?
Dillian Whyte, who once fought his way into title contention. This is a diminished version clinging to relevance in a division that's already passed him by. For Moses, it's the perfect mix, a big name, past his prime...
Quit. It's not horrific to say. I'm queer. I'm chairman of the quit committee. I'm top quitter, I guess.
And vulnerable. Johnny Nelson takes the diplomatic route, insisting Whyte isn't ducking anyone. But even in his careful phrasing, there's a hesitation, an unspoken acknowledgement that Whyte no longer has the same fearlessness. Deep down, even the veterans know this fight might be Whyte's last roll of the dice. Dave Allen chooses humor, but his jab lands hard. He mocks Whyte's tendency to mentally fold under pressure, dubbing him chairman of the quit committee. In boxing, where respect is currency, that kind of label is brutal, and once it sticks, it rarely fades. Then there's Anthony Joshua, a man who doesn't hand out praise lightly. His backing of Moses Itauma to edge the fight speaks volumes. When a two-time world champion publicly tips a 20-year-old to beat a seasoned contender, it's more than an opinion.
Team around him, honestly, and you're as good as your team, but I think he's got a really good team around him after being in the ring with him and studying him. Still studying him now. I think that he's the one to edge it.
It's a statement. For Whyte, the stakes couldn't be higher. His reputation is under siege, his body is slowing, and the whispers about his heart are getting louder. For Moses, this is the moment to claim a big scalp and cement his arrival. In heavyweight boxing, timing is everything. And for one man, this might be the end, while for another, it could be the beginning of an era. He's been watching Moses Itauma closely, a telling sign that the 20-year-old is already viewed as a genuine contender. That's the stark contrast in this matchup. Moses is earning the attention and respect of world champions, while Dillian Whyte is sinking deeper into ridicule and doubt. Fans aren't just questioning Whyte's ability anymore, they're questioning his will, his discipline, and even his honesty. The conversation has shifted from can Whyte still do it, to will he even show up clean. Moses, meanwhile, is the definite...
Of course.
Do you believe your opponent is underestimating you?
Yeah. No.
Do you believe this fight will cement your legacy?
Yeah. No.
Will this fight end before the final bell?
We'll see. Yes.
Do you think your last performance was your best yet?
The best is
Definition
yet
of
to come.
professionalism.
No.
Sharp, hungry, and surrounded by a strong, focused team. One man is building a legacy. The other is fighting to stop his name from becoming a permanent punchline. Andrew McCart doesn't mince words. In his eyes, YT only signed this fight because the payday was too good to refuse. Pride, legacy, and ambition aren't the motivators anymore. It's the purse. And after a string of no-shows, questionable withdrawals, and failed drug tests, the uncomfortable question is whether YT even belongs in elite conversations at all. He's gone from feared contender to controversy magnet. Moses is polar opposite, a rising threat who needs tough tests to sharpen his skills, not hand-picked soft touches. This fight isn't about records. It's about hunger, discipline, and who truly wants it. If YT's motivation is purely financial, he's already lost half the battle.
So just wait and see, but it's exciting.
What do you make of Itauma versus Dillian Whyte?
It's a good fight. Dillian likes to fight. He'll have to tear up.
Yeah.
You know, you can't test this man's cojones. You know, he'll fight anybody and everybody. So with Dillian doing that, you think, you know what?
Battle. That's why so many are backing Moses. The fire is real, and if YT turns up unprepared, he could find himself stopped by a fighter young enough to be his protege. Johnny Nelson has hinted that YT may now be reduced to gatekeeper status, a polite way of saying he's no longer a true contender. And even that might be generous given his recent track record. Once he was knocking on the door of a world title. Now he's the opponent you throw in front of a rising star to test their readiness against a recognizable name. That's exactly what Moses faces here. Nelson says it's a good fight, but the subtext is clear. This is Moses' chance to make a statement by dismantling a former top heavyweight who's now seen as vulnerable. For YT, it's...
See the old school Dillian Whyte who, you know, wasn't afraid of anyone, would put it on anyone, because Moses is still only 20. And I almost feel like if Dillian needs a path to victory, it might start from outside the ring first, and then we'll see. Because there would have been a time when Moses has grown up and he's watching Dillian.
Do or die. For Moses, it's just the beginning. Analyst Adeo Ladipo zeroes in on the root of YT's decline. It starts long before the opening bell. Failed tests, inconsistency, and poor discipline have defined this stage of his career. Calls from the 2010s for the old-school YT are telling, because the current version simply isn't enough. The Dillian Whyte who flipped tables at press conferences and carried an unpredictable menace is gone, replaced by a man chasing a shadow of himself. The danger, the edge, the chaos. It's all history. Moses, on the other hand, is peaking. Fans see the symbolism YT's past aggression used to make him feared. Now it's just a memory. Online, the trolls won't let him forget it. Drug scandals, late pullouts, and inconsistency are the constant chorus. Unless something drastic happens, this fight might not be a war at all. It could be a showcase for Moses and possibly the last time YT fights on a major stage. Tony Bellew's praise for Moses speaks volumes.
But he's the next in line. I think he's the future of the heavyweight division. I think he's an outstanding talent. I think he's got a good team around him. Ben Davison and Lee Wiley. Wiley is the brains that study everything, and they use what we call video analysis.
Bellew isn't generous with elite comparisons, but here he's putting Itauma in the same breath as Alexander Usyk. He calls Moses unbelievable, not just for what he's already shown, but for how high his ceiling could be. Bellew dismisses the size factor, reminding everyone that Usyk proved skill beats bulk. Boxing is about movement, IQ, timing, and heart, and Moses has all three in abundance. The way Bellew talks, you'd think he's describing a future pound-for-pound star. The contrast couldn't be sharper. YT came up the hard way, clawing his place into title contention, but now faces doubt, ridicule, and fading relevance. His reputation has been shredded by the failed tests, inconsistent performances, and endless drama. Moses, in contrast, is clean, disciplined, and earning the respect of legends. Bellew sees him not as a maybe, but as a future champion, possibly the man who could retire YT for good. Trainer Ben Davison takes the hype even further. He points out that some insiders now talk about YT as a potential 2 or 3 round victim, not because YT is suddenly hopeless, but
a lot of the general public, the expectation's almost like it's a 2 or 3 round job for Moses. And my opinion is if there was any other heavyweight in the world boxing Dillian Whyte, they wouldn't say it's a 2-3 round job. So I think that just tells you how highly people...
But because Moses is that good. That's a staggering shift in perception. Davison emphasizes that Moses has already leapfrogged most of his peers in reputation. This isn't just about winning, it's about delivering a statement, a performance that cements Moses Itauma as the heavyweight division's next big thing. And it's not only casual fans who believe it, seasoned insiders are leaning the same way. For Whyte, this fight is about survival. Reputation, relevance, and pride are all on the line. For Moses, it's about seizing the moment. In a sport where timing is everything, this matchup feels like the perfect crossroads, one man desperately trying to hold on, the other ready to take everything. When trainers, former champions, and respected insiders talk about Dillian Whyte these days, the problem they point to isn't just age or ring rust, it's trust. Fans and pundits simply don't believe in him anymore. After multiple withdrawals, failed drug tests, and a career littered with inconsistency, Whyte's name has become a punchline. The question, will he even show up, is now asked with genuine seriousness.
Moses is an exceptional talent. You know, he's been in the game a long time. He's got a very, long-standing amateur record. And
Moses Itauma, by contrast, represents what the heavyweight division should stand for: youth, hunger, power, and professionalism. Trainer Ben Davison's verdict is blunt. This isn't a coin flip fight. It's a stage, and Moses is expected to use it to dismantle a former contender and declare himself a future king. Promoter Eddie Hearn doesn't throw around the word exceptional lightly. When he applies it to Itauma, it's because he sees something rare. Hearn recognizes championship DNA, and he sees it in Moses. The young heavyweight's long amateur pedigree isn't just a resume line, it's proof he earned his spot the right way. He's medaled, he's won, and he's earned respect across Europe. Now he's stepped into the professional ranks with a composure and skill that feel almost unnatural for a 20-year-old. Whyte's career, in contrast, has been a roller coaster of chaos. Suspensions, drama, and missed opportunities.
Saloon for him. He needs the victory here. So, look, we find out just how good Moses Itauma is, I think, on the 16th of August when he boxes Dillian Whyte, because I think he wins it and wins it in style. But everyone they put in front of him so far, he's just dismantled. I think this kid's going to go on and win.
These missteps have cost him not just belts but credibility. Moses is the opposite: disciplined, clean-cut, and quietly confident. Hearn knows this could be the night the torch is passed. If Moses stops Whyte in style, it could officially close one era and ignite another. For a promoter, that's gold history in the making. Former fighter Spencer Oliver calls this the ultimate measuring stick for Moses. Forget the hype videos. This is where we find out if he belongs in the conversation with the elite. Oliver isn't just predicting a win, he's predicting style points. And when someone who's been in the ring with some of the best says that, it's a statement. The truth is, Whyte no longer inspires fear. His career has been shadowed by too much controversy. Moses, on the other hand, is everything Whyte isn't right now: consistent, focused, and hungry. Oliver genuinely believes Itauma will be a world champion. He sees the sharpness in his footwork under pressure, the spite in his punches, and the poise that only great fighters possess. This fight isn't just a test, it's a showcase. That's what makes it so pivotal. It's not just another date on the heavyweight calendar, it's a turning point. If Moses Itauma dominates Dillian Whyte, it won't just validate the hype, it could signal the end of Whyte's days as a serious contender. For years, Whyte's name meant big fights, big drama, and big moments. Now he's not just battling Moses, he's battling his own past, his reputation, and a fan base that's stopped believing. Moses represents the future, clean, dangerous, and ready. At just 20 years old, he's already being talked about in the same breath as future champions. The pressure is immense, but so is the opportunity. If Moses walks through Whyte in style, the message to the division will be crystal clear: